Hello, everybody. Hope that videos have been informative for you. Right now, we are on the road. Pastor Jay and I. Yeah, so uh, we're headed to Indiana. He's been invited to play in about 4 more hours to go. But God is so good. We broke down like 4 in the morning and called AAA. Somebody was supposed to be out at 6:30. So between that time of trying to get some rest, we started looking up the problem with the car because it just wouldn't go. This is a 2009, what are we driving? Dodge Grand Caravan. And we love the videos that are out on YouTube to be able to figure stuff out, right? So just kind of veering off to let you know what's going on. We could uh, go backwards in reverse. We could put it in neutral, but we couldn't put it in drive. It would just die out and wouldn't go. But we couldn't find any place locally. Uh, in We were in Williamsville, Illinois, and the closest other city was Springfield, Illinois. Couldn't find any local parts store that had it as we was looking online, but we got told eventually to a place in Springfield, and there were several places we had looked at, called, talked to. Everybody turned us down. So either they don't do it or they're so busy can't get to it till next Tuesday. We're like, hey, we got some place to be tonight in Indiana, and anyway, the one place that we called and said, bring it on in, and we let them know we need it done today, this morning, if possible. Here's how God worked this thing out. And I know you're on here for real estate. You didn't come for God, but I'm just going to tell you this anyway. Hopefully, it'll bless you to help you. We stayed encouraged, got us some little naps, cat naps where we could. Hadn't slept since night before last. Yeah, I got the cat nap. He was trying to figure it out. And we got to the place, and they called every place they could, all the parts stores, came and told us, hey, we can't find it, but we're going to start checking with the dealers. So they were calling the Dodge dealers. Not one Dodge dealer had it. They finally came back and said, well, here's the thing. It's a long shot, but I had an opportunity. This is the guy talking to us, the manager or owner of the place. He said, I had an opportunity to buy the whole engine and everything from one of these, and I didn't need it, but it's such a good deal, I didn't pass it up. I figured I'd just put it out back. We'll keep it if we ever need spare parts for something. He said, I can go look at that and see if this part is on there, and if it's good, if you don't mind a used part, it'll just shave some of the money off of the part, because I think the part was supposed to cost around $89. They ended up charging us $25 for it. The part was good. They put it on. It worked. We're on our way. Now, look at God. What is the odds of that the one place that said, come on and bring it in, out of this line of places that we had called, uh, they are the only ones who had the part, or the ones at this point who had a part just sitting in the back and had no use for it, bought it, and didn't even need it when they bought it, but it was for us, right? So, and that just happened to be where we broke down. Just God. So anyway, kind of contrast that with what happened and why I'm getting on here now to talk to you. So with the tax sale, what you all have been waiting for, if you've seen video number 1, 2, or 3, what you've been waiting on at this point is for the hearings. We have to have the sale. So once you pay for it at the tax sale, it's not a done deal until the judge confirms it. The owner of the property can show up and contest it, and if they contest it, it can be set again for another hearing. It can also be set aside because they can say, we've got the money. In this case, it is for a tax deed. So, and it is the same sale that you get the tax deed. You don't have a waiting period. of like a year to where the owners can come back and redeem it. Some counties give it 3 years. So you got to know whether or not you're buying it the first year, second year, third year of that property being offered for sale. And so we go to the hearing, and I recorded it because here's the thing. We got 3 properties all together. I'm going to kind of catch you up. We got 3 properties all together. One property, even though it's the same county, one property the hearing is going to be separate at another place. 2 of the properties were land. Of course, we thought we were getting a building. So one of them wasn't real sure. Took a chance, turned out to be a bad chance. That was a $2,100 or $2,100 mistake. But this other one turned out to be a $19,000 mistake, and the records of the county weren't updated. You go by, look at the property, there's a house there, and there's some land, but it matches the images on the map. So it looks like you're getting the land and the house. So we bid on that. We got it. It was afterwards that we found out it doesn't include that house. So we go in at the county, we check on it. They say, there's a house there. We say, well, we found out it's not. So, okay, you sure there's a house? And they said, well, we'll look at something else, another record. They looked at another record, and sure enough, it's not included in that. So they said, take this map, everything. They printed everything out for us. They said, take it to the court hearing and tell the judge. The documentation we received said that the mapping was the final authority for that property. Now, here's the catch. They're really selling, and they make it very clear in the law and when they are selling the property that they're selling the parcel number, and that parcel that matches parcel that matches that number. They don't care what's on it, what's not on it. They're selling the parcel. That's all to it. And you take it as is. That's stipulated in the documentation. So we're going to court and going to contest this, hoping for the mercy of the court. Not that we really think they're going to, I guess, deviate from what the documentation says, but we're looking for grace. We're looking for a way to get that $19,000 back. So we present our case, and we recorded it. So I'm going to play some of the recording and see if you can hear it. If it doesn't come out good, I'll kind of let you know what it says. But I wanted to give you a show, basically, or an example of what the court proceeding is like. Before we went in, there were people coming out saying, oh my God, that judge is hard this time. That judge is not giving anybody any leeway. Tears don't move him. These people are losing their homes, whatever. He's like, done. Sale is confirmed. Period. I'm signing it. Bye. So I didn't even want to sit in the courtroom to witness all that and let that be in it. What'd you say?
I told the judge he was allowing the city to falsify documents to make us believe that something was there when it's not. He didn't like that very well.
Right. I didn't want to go to jail either. So I was like, hey, but here it is. Let's see. See if you can hear this. We're walking up to the court stand, and they told us to say our names and to tell them if we've been vaccinated. Let's see.
Thank you, Your Honor. This petition was filed May 21st, 2020. Resident date out September 28th, 2020 for $2,533. Resident tax year 2017, 2018.
So that's the attorney reading off the case.
August 17th.
And if you didn't hear it, what he was saying is that the only years included in the tax sale is 2017, 18, 19, which means once they confirm it, they have to pay the years up until now as well. We're asking for that one to be set aside. I want to make sure I'm on the right one. And this is Kensington. Okay. set aside on the grounds that the actual county records and city records were not updated at that point. So what we did was we bought it, went and, said hooray, went and looked at it, and there was a woman out at the, person out at the house. They said they seen us before, or seen me, because I was the one that went and looked at it, and, why it's not for sale or whatever, and I explained that we bought it, tax sale. She said, no, it's this property right here is not all one property. I said, well, it is. And so I went back the next day and went to the clerk inside. It's still the tax sale, but I went inside and explained it to her. So she looked it up. She said, no, it's a house there. I said, no, the lady who's living there said that house is not part of that property. She said, let me look at something else. And she went to another database and she said, no, it's land only. She said, I'm going to print it, give you some printouts, and I'm going to print it, and I'm going to give it to somebody to update the database because it didn't get updated. So she printed it, and I brought that. When she gave me a name and number of Gabriella, I called that person. They were actually holding the tax sale, so I went out and talked to them. They said to be sure to bring my printouts and explain to the judge at the hearing.
I can't speak to as far as the websites that the tax purchaser is referring to. However, as far as going out to review the property after the sale, they had the opportunity to do that before the sale. There's a house.
Okay, so right there, that was the attorney talking, and he said, Your Honor, they had the opportunity to go see the property before the sale, which we did. So I failed to explain that we had looked at it first before we actually bid on it. But what he said was, Your Honor, there is a house on that property, and which tells you that. And he said he was looking at the records of the court. The actual website for the circuit court says that these websites, the GIS mapping, is the final authority for what is there described. And so that's why we presented it, that it was incorrect and not updated. But also, if it's not set aside, we would ask that it be no more than the taxes that were due.
All right, I'm not empowered to that, folks, based on the law that I'm bound by today, which is section.
So basically, no matter what we ask for, he's shutting it down.
Which reads as what?
I'm sorry.
You said, what does that read?
Yeah, the statute says, and I'll just read it to you. For this purpose, the court shall have the power to summon any city or county official or any private person that testifies to the equal value of the property. And if the court finds that adequate consideration has been paid, the court shall confirm the sale and order the sheriff, or this case, the court administrator, to issue a deed to the purchaser. The time that I'm able to discard the purchase is on the basis that you didn't pay enough money for it. That's basically the law.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there. I don't know if you could tell everything that what he was saying was based on the law and the statutes, and he gave the statute, and he said, this is all I can determine. All I can determine is whether or not the sale should be confirmed. And so Pastor Jackson said, wait a minute, what does, you just cited the address of that statute, but what does that statute say? So he was reading it off, and basically he's just reading the portion for the proceeding of the hearing. And so that's all he is concerned about. He said, if we have a concern with something else not being according to the law, that we'd have to bring that into a different court as another case. So he said, you need to get an attorney or just bring your case in another court. But as far as what he was concerned with, it was a hearing for protest for the owners. He said, even though the documentation and the laws that he was referring to said that we could ask, or if the sale was going to be set aside because the amount was insufficient, then the owner could bring that request. But he made it clear that only the owner can do any protest. Actually, the person who bought it we could not do a protest based on his understanding of the law. And so he said, where what we asked for was leniency in that clearly we paid way too much and expected there to be a property there based on their documentation, their GIS mapping. And so why not, we said, give us leniency and just charge the amount of the taxes due, which was like $1,000 or something. He said, well, I can't lower the amount. I can only raise the amount. He's like, really? So we let it go. We feel like we've definitely gotten a property we didn't want to get, but we've never been in a situation, honestly, where we didn't later see the good in the whole thing and how it was rolled out, and we didn't understand what God was doing. So we're just gonna walk this thing out. And the lesson to you is a couple of things. One is I had to take off from work for that hearing. So be sure that even though you've taken off a lot of time for the actual sale, don't use all your vacation time. Don't use all the personal leave time that you may have, because you're going to need it down the road, some of it. So I took off to go to the hearing. I'm going to have to take off to go to another hearing in a couple of weeks. Then it's going to be time to fix on properties or do things to properties, put them up for sale or work them, whatever we're going to do. And we'll let you in on that as well. So I'm going to need time off from work for that, or do as much as I can on a weekend, because as you go into this part of the year in this region, it gets dark early. So it's not a lot you can do after dark, especially on a property where you don't have electricity turned on or water turned on yet, that kind of thing. So hope this has been informative, just helping you go along this journey so that when you make that choice, give them some insight, right? Count up the cost is what the Bible says. If you count up the cost and you're prepared going in, you'll be a lot more successful. So we'll see you with information after the next hearing in a couple of weeks.
Make sure you do your research on the property before you buy it.
All right. Talk to you guys later.